Hello, this video is our verse of the week, our Greek verse of the week. And we finished up in my podcast, Revelation 22, finished the book of Revelation. So here is a verse from Revelation 22, namely verse 18. Let's begin. Marturo ego panti to akuonti tous logus tes propheteas. Okay, I am witnessing, I, myself, to everyone who hears the words of the prophecy. Okay, I am witnessing, this is a straight old present active indicative first singular. I am witnessing. And the word is martureo. And eo indicates that it's what we call a contract verb or crash verb. The last letter of the stem is an epsilon. Martureo, and omega is the ending. Well, when they crash, omegas win over everything. The epsilon gets smashed into the omega, and we put a little circumflex to say, place line, step back, there's been an accident, don't pay any attention here, go home, people. Anyway, not really. So this is it's a contract verb, epsilon stem verb, present active indicative, first singular from martureo. Ego, lego my ego, cogito ergo sum, in Latin, very similar, ego, ego. And so this is the word I. However, the word I isn't technically necessary because it's in the omega. So it adds a little umph. I myself, or I witness. But anyway, I myself witness might be a way to do it. It implies a little emphasis on the me. So I myself witness, panti to akuonti, to everyone who hears. Panti is pas, which means all. And then akuonti, my aunt, is an active participle. This is indeed akuo, present stem, nothing added to it. So it is a present active participle. This iota here indicates that, and as this iota here too, that it's dative singular, dative masculine singular, I might say. In theory, these could be neuter, but it's talking about people. So to every hearing one isn't there. We call this the substantive use of a participle because the participle has to come up with its own substance. There's no noun here, so we have to come up with one, and one is a nice word to come up with to substitute the noun that goes with it, imaginary noun. So to everyone who hears. The three steps I usually teach in translating a Greek participle is start with ing, to every hearing one. Then step two, Ken's rule, if it has an article, add who or that. Does it have an article? Yes, so add who. To every who hearing, that's not good. So we have to fill in the blanks. Stage three, to every one who hears or who is hearing. Okay, so I witness, I myself, to everyone who is hearing, tous logus, the words, accusative plural, masculine, of the prophecy, genitive, feminine, singular, of the book this, of the scroll this. I'm going to go with scroll because of what they didn't have the book form, as I said in the podcast. So this scroll, demonstrative pronoun, genitive, all that's genitive, neuter, singular. Okay, period. On tis tu bibliou tutu. New sentence. On tis epithe epauta, epithese hotheos. Okay. If someone should add upon them, that is to the words of the book of this prophecy, God will add upon them the plagues that have been written in this book. Okay. So if introduces a conditional clause or an if clause. You have an if part and you have a then part. So the if part is if someone should add to them, that's the if part. So this is called the protasis, the if part. The then part is called the apodosis. Okay, one is leading before, one is leading away. Someone is an indefinite pronoun. If it had an accent, it would have been the interrogative pronoun, but without the accent, it's just someone, indefinite. On is a iffy if. It wants the subjunctive. Subjunctive is coming, subjunctive is coming. And so I'm not surprised that epithe is indeed subjunctive. How do I know it's subjunctive? Well, I know it's subjunctive because it has a on. But that, okay, I can actually tell from the form too. The endings would be o, ace, a, with epsilons in some circumstances, but when they're fried, they go oh really long. Go with me here. A with an eta and ace with an eta, and then A with an eta. And then what would have normally been a epsilon iota, the epsilon fries into an eta, and then the iota hangs on for dear life. Help me, help me, help me. So I say this has been fried. I mean, technically it's been lengthened, but fried is a better picture, right? And so that tells me it's subjunctive. The is the stem also of tithemi. Again, me verbs are difficult for many people, but once you get the hang of them, they're not that bad. So epi, it's a compound word, epitithemi, which means to add. So epi is a preposition on the front, and then tithemi is here. Now, why isn't there a ti here in tithemi? Because with me verbs, the ti part, the reduplicated part, only appears in the present stem. That's one of the weird things about me verbs. So it's aorist. I mean, you get a hang of it eventually, but it's an aorist, active subjunctive, third singular from epitithemi. If someone should add upon them, upon the words of the book of this prophecy. That's interesting that this is neuter. This is a neuter plural alpha. Bingo! Very interesting. Why is it neuter plural? Maybe because of upon them scrolls. You know, again, I'm not wanting to offend anybody, but I really don't think that Greek was John's first language. There's also in this chapter, I'm trying to remember where it is. Well, no, actually, I remember. It has Hina in that verse. Now, in the New Testament, Hina almost universally takes the subjunctive. And I say almost universally because there is a verse here in chapter 22. Let me find which one it is. It's verse 14 that uses Hina with an indicative. Now, a Hina can take the indicative in classical Greek, but it means something like when in that particular case. And that doesn't seem to be what the word is being used here. And so, again, this is not important to life. But because we know what it means, right? We know the message, and the message is what's important. But this is a weird thing to have auta here, which is neuter plural. Bingo, because book is the only thing that's neuter plural that I see previously. Anyway, let's just keep going. If somebody should add upon them, I guess upon the books, and that has to mean words. Has to mean words. God will add upon him, that person, the plagues that have been written in this book. So epithese, this is the same word as epithe, but this was subjunctive, and this one is future. The sigma indicates that it's future. That's where the will comes from. And here's the indicative version. This is the fried version. This is the indicative version of the third person singular. It's not present stem, so it doesn't have the ti of epitithemi, but this is a future active indicative third singular from epitithemi. God upon him, the plagues, accusative feminine singular, the article never lies, the things that have been written. So this is a article, noun, article, adjective. It's functioning as an adjective. A participle is a verbal adjective. So this is an attributive construction. This particular participle, men are passive participles, and the ending has been shoved right onto the stem, you know, the cartilage rubbing against each other. So this is a perfect middle or passive participle because of the bin, let's say passive, perfect, the have comes from the perfect, bin comes from the passive, written from the fact that this is grapho. So it is a perfect passive participle, accusative feminine singular to match plagues from grapho. Now, again, going through the three-step translation process, we have the plagues having been written. That's the rated G translation. Has the article, so with Ken's rule, we'll put a that in front of it. The plagues that having been written. That doesn't make sense. So we bring it on down with stage 3 to make everything work it out and make sense. The plagues that have been written and still are in this book. Demonstrative pronoun, dative, neuter singular. Well, okay, there you have it. Revelation 22:18. Of course, the scroll is the scroll of Revelation, right? because the rest of the book of Revelation was on its own scroll. None of the other books of the Bible were attached to the book of Revelation. And so this scroll in its original form clearly referred to the book of Revelation itself, not to the rest of the Bible. That isn't to say that God may consider the rest of the Bible that to be the case as well. I'm simply saying, in terms of what the original meaning, what was in John's head, this referred to the scroll of Revelation originally. This has been Revelation 22:18 in the Greek.